Welcome back to Mile High Mysteries, the podcast where Colorado's past meets the unknown. I'm your host, David. Every week, we dive deep into the weird, the wild, and the downright unexplainable stories that make the Centennial State one of the strangest places to live. From secret military bases hidden beneath mountain ranges, to UFO sightings over sleepy mountain towns, from haunted mining camps to legends of ancient civilizations lost to time, we dig up the stories that you won't hear in your high school history class. So whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or just here for the ride, buckle up. Colorado has secrets, and we're here to uncover them. There's a certain moment that happens when you've been driving long enough through Colorado's quiet places. It doesn't come with a warning. There's no sign on the road that says things are about to get strange. No, it just happens. The music in your car feels too loud, so you turn it down, then off. You don't really know why. The road stretches out in front of you, straight and empty, cutting through land that seems untouched. No houses, no lights, no movement. And then you notice something you didn't expect. The silence. Not the absence of noise, but the absence of everything. No wind against the car. No distant hum of power lines. No insects. Nothing. It's the kind of silence that makes you aware of your own breathing. The kind that makes you sit a little straighter in your seat. And if you've ever felt that, you know exactly what comes next. North Park sits quietly in northern Colorado near Walden, surrounded by mountains that seem to hold the valley in place. It's one of those places where the sky feels bigger than it should, where distances are hard to judge, where something miles away can look just close enough to make you second guess yourself. Late one evening, a man was driving south through that valley. He had made the drive before more than once, and knew the road well enough that nothing should have surprised him. The sun had already dipped behind the mountains, leaving behind that deep blue hour where everything feels, well, slightly removed from reality, you might say. His headlights stretched out across the pavement. The road was empty. No cars, no signs of life, just him, the road, and the quiet. At some point, he would later struggle to remember exactly when that he saw a turnoff. It wasn't marked in any special way, just a gravel road branching off from the main highway. Fenced on both sides, maintained, ordinary. And that's what made it easy to take. He didn't hesitate, didn't think twice, he just turned. For the first mile or two, nothing felt unusual. The road held steady beneath his tires. The fences continued alongside of him. The sky darkened slowly. And then he saw it. Lights, not headlights, not reflections, actual lights. They sat low against the horizon, clustered together in a way that immediately suggested buildings, a town. Small, but real. As he drove closer, the shapes began to form. Wooden structures, low rooftops, simple construction. The kind of buildings you might expect from an older settlement, something built decades ago and left mostly unchanged. And that's when the first real thought hit him. That shouldn't be here. He had driven this area before, multiple times, and he didn't remember anything like this. Not even close. He slowed the truck, rolled the window down slightly, and immediately felt something that didn't belong. There was no wind at all. The grass stood still. The air didn't move. Even the temperature felt suspended. It wasn't colder. It wasn't warmer. It just was. If you've ever been in North Park, you know how unnatural that is. The wind there is constant, except now, it was gone. This is the exact moment where instinct quietly taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, maybe not. And curiosity immediately responds, well, yeah, but what if? And curiosity does usually win in that matter. He pulled up near what looked like a general store. The building was simple, wooden siding, a small porch, a single light glowing from inside. The door was slightly open, not enough to see inside, just enough to notice. He turned off the engine, and the silence that followed felt heavier than before, like the absence of sound had weight to it. He stepped out. The gravel beneath his boots sounded too loud, too sharp. Each step seemed to echo, even though there was nothing around to reflect it. He took a few steps towards the building, and the feeling came over him slowly. Not fear, not panic, something a little subtler. A sense that everything around him was slightly, misaligned. Like a photograph where the focus is just a tiny bit off. The buildings looked real. The light looked real. But something about the entire scene felt like it didn't belong to the same moment he did. The door creaked slightly, just enough to move, but there was no wind. He froze, waited, listened. Nothing. No footsteps inside, no voices, no movement, just the same heavy stillness pressing in from all sides. He turned back towards his truck, and that's when it happened. For a split second, it didn't look right. It was his truck. Same shape, same color, same position, but it felt, out of place. Like it didn't belong in that scene. Or maybe he didn't. That right there was enough. He didn't question it, didn't investigate further, didn't call out. He got back into the truck, shut the door, and started the engine. That sound felt almost jarring against the silence. He turned the vehicle around and drove. The moment he reached the main road again, everything came back. The wind hit the side of his truck. The sound of the engine normalized. His GPS signal returned. The silence broke as if nothing had happened. He went back the next day in full daylight. Clear skies, clear mind. He drove the same stretch of road, slowed down at every possible turn, checked every path. There was nothing there. No road, no buildings, no town, just open land, exactly as it had always been. Over time, stories like this began to surface in other parts of Colorado. Different locations, different people, but the same pattern. A road, a place, a moment that doesn't fit, and then nothing. Some people don't see anything at all. They just lose time. Minutes turn into hours. Short hikes stretch into long absences. Moments disappear without explanation. Search teams explain it with disorientation, with stress, with environment, and most of the time they're right, but not always. One hiker describes stepping off a trail for just a moment, just long enough to look at something in the trees. When he stepped back onto the trail, something felt wrong. The path looked the same, but not quite. The angle of the light had shifted. The shadows didn't fall the way they had before. He checked his watch. Hours had passed. He had no memory, really, of where he had been. Now, to be fair, your brain is doing everything it can to keep up. But put it in a place with no reference points, no signal, no clear sense of direction, and suddenly it's guessing. And sometimes it does guess wrong. Colorado is full of ghost towns, places that once held life, now reduced to just fragments. But sometimes people describe seeing them as they used to be, whole, lit, alive, and when they return, there's absolutely nothing there. So, what are these places? Mistakes? Illusions? Memories overlapping with reality, maybe? Or maybe something else entirely. Something tied to location, to time, to perception, maybe even to something we don't have words for yet. Now, if you ever find yourself on a road that doesn't show up on your map and you see something that shouldn't be there, you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to explore it. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is keep driving. Thanks for tuning in to Mile High Mysteries. If this episode made you question the roads you travel, make sure that you follow us so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you want to be part of what comes next as well, don't forget to subscribe also. So until next time, stay curious and keep your eyes on the skies.